I know from personal experience that not just YouTube, not just YouTube broadcasting and this dialect and dialogue and conversation and the whole you can see I can see when I do a search and looking for criteria and a demonstration of proper placement of responsibility and accountability, and it's lacking. And anyone who is using not only just logic, but they're using a personal or witnessed experience, and then based off of based off of the numbers. I mean, and just common sense. Hell, you don't even really not and not and see. Here's the thing: is that why would any logical, so-called educated or using reason, not feelings but reason, compare the common percentage in population of whatever they're titling, whatever we are titling ourselves, because quite frankly, I don't oblige to any of the boxes that people are expecting me to go with. So when they say check each box that applies, I don't. And then I write in my own. I'll go anywhere from saying melanated to mixed ethnicities, because that would be the most intellectual response based off of all the facts and data that I have to prescribe what I am, which is not a product of love, which is not a product of freedom, which was a product of self-hatred and fetish. Okay? I was never honored a childhood. I was never honored safety. None of those things were granted to me. So for especially black males, for them to say anything about how we are at fault, how black women or melanated women are at fault for why we're in the predicament that we're in and that we're the traitors, I find it very strange, because I see a plethora of this dialogue as to us black women being the traitors and the betrayers and the first ones who turned our backs. And that's a bold-faced lie. Okay, the only thing that if we're not guilty of this, but the only thing that we did was and we shouldn't even be apologizing to black males. We should only be apologizing to ourselves and to other females that are melanated also, because there was plenty of fights, okay? There was plenty of broken relationships as far as friendships over these guys, and they're the instigators of it. They're the ones who were in the middle of that crap. They're the ones that were stirring the pot of that. They were the ones, they refused to take any accountability. See, the thing is they're really great at deflecting and shifting the blame. And whether this is done intentionally or they're doing it just based off of the culture that was set up for them, regardless, is hearing these things and then putting up with these things are the only things that we should be apologizing to ourselves. No, I am not sorry to black men. I did nothing to you. There were plenty of times where I defended black males for their abuse. I don't make excuses for this one kidnapping me and forcing me into prostitution. I will not support a black male who finds it acceptable to go and kidnap and force a 15-year-old into prostitution. I do not support a black male who will put his own wife into prostitution. I don't support black males who psychologically manipulate and prey upon certain so-called classes of black women, whether we're mixed. Oh, he loves mixed because he's always trying to do that psychological game with us. And even then, and then he'll use fear. Okay. And they know, I don't know all of the methods that they use psychologically because I don't prefer to even belittle my, I don't choose to belittle my thinking pattern and the manners of which. However, yes, there's things that are obvious, like how he uses fear, how he'll use weaknesses, and weaknesses not even something that's truly even a weakness. They had to create this abuse and do these all of this different. It's just a smorgasbord of just bullshit. And I don't know how this one can feel decent about himself doing that to females if he knows that he has the advantage of testosterone, but then we'll turn around and say how manly us women are. We had to be not even manly. We had to step up our defense mechanism in order to counter him, because see, the thing is even though he may be operating within the system of the incorrectly titled white supremacy, because I refuse to deem white supremacy as supremacy or even white, because they're not white and they're not supreme. It is extreme terrorism, and not just on the personal bodies of the prisoners of war, but it's extreme terrorism on free will. And that's exactly what black males have contributed to upholding and implementing, is that they put on a pedestal the wives and women and daughters of people who hate him. And realistically, when it comes down to it, once they, I guess, sacrificed all their scapegoats, then his ass will be next. Why? Because they don't respect you. And the sad part is that they don't even ask you to do this. Black males have taken it as their assignment and as their prerogative to defame and devalue and to disrespect, abuse, and be the perpetuators of absolute extreme terrorism to the black woman, so whether she's mixed or not, because they play with us either way. And they've forced us. Yes, they have raped us, and they were not consequenced for it. They've stolen from us. Nothing can excuse anyone, especially a black male, from doing that to his own sister. That's all I've got to say for right now.